Megan Johnson. Every 25.3 seconds, a violent crime has occurred in the United States, stated by the U.S. Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation, a branch in the U.S. justice system that investigates heinous acts against the people of the U.S. in the Statistics of Crime webpage updated in January of 2019. According to a survey I did, everyone in this room has either watched a TV show, a movie, or played a video game that has involved violence. Violence in the media causes violence in our society. First, I'm going to talk about how TV shows and movies affect violence in our society, and finally I'm going to talk about video games and their violence. First, let's start by how TV shows and movies affect violence in our society. Violent TV shows and movies are a big part of why we have violence in our society. Violent TV shows and movies can lead to aggressive thoughts amongst children. Media violence is a risk factor for aggression thoughts in short term and long term, which is aggression-related scripts that are accessible in real-life conflict situations. According to Dr. Sylv Mrug, who has a PhD in clinical psychology from Purdue University, in the journal Abnormal Child Psychology, published in 2015, states, media has an impact on every person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. U.S. children between the ages 8 to 18 on average watch 30 hours of TV shows or movies a week. According to Edward Palmer, media educator and graduate of Michigan State University, with a PhD in educational measurement, in the book The Faces of Televisual Media, updated in 2015. When speaking of social media, among the potential detrimental effects include stereotyping, fright and fear reactions, sexual attitudes. U.S. ratings on movies, if based on a similar system, could become more clear, more accurate, and more accessible. Now that I've talked to you about TV shows and movies and their violence, let's now talk about violence in video games. Violence in video games are another main reason why we have violence in our society. According to Lawrence Kuttner, co-founder of the Center for Mental Health and Media and graduate of Harvard Medical School, in the journal Viewpoints and Flashpoints, in the study of video game violence and aggression, published in 2015, states, other relevant features of this perspective include exposure to violent media images, which is assumed to increase aggression in all children. Video game violence include the use of drugs and alcohol, the killing of people and animals, and bad language. These types of games have negative effects on people, which lead to negative effects on our society. There are many representations, such as racism, that send messages to players that this behavior is tolerable and okay in our society. According to Jiakun Zhang, graduate of Shanghai University of Sport with a PhD in economics and mathematics, in the journal Priming Effect of Computer Game Violence on Children's Aggression Levels, published in 2016, states, computer game violence is a virtual world-filled aggression-related stimuli that when children come to conflict, they go through violence. U.S. children between the ages 8 to 18 on average play 8 hours of video games a week. 99% of teen boys play video games and 94% of teen girls play video games. Over 90% of video games that are rated for children ages 10 and older contain violence. Video game violence first emerged with school shootings. Over 15 incidents of school shootings happened throughout different countries. The school shooting in Paducah, Kentucky was linked to video game violence. The adolescent boy learned how to shoot a gun through video games. The adolescent boy said, "Let's face it, we live in a violent world." Video games are stimulators for killing. We can help reduce these percentages by having parents only allow what their children can play and only allow so much time playing them. Now, first I talked to you about violence in movies and TV shows, and finally I talked to you about violence in video games and how they all affect our society. Violence in the media causes violence in our society. Throughout this speech, at least 9 violent crimes have occurred. Media violence is a few known risk factors that parents, caregivers, and the society in general can reduce at a very little cost.